We're live.
He might be a little young. Actually, I think there's a requirement for age.
As far as requesting it.
Yeah, well, as far as getting started. Yeah. Touching up so getting an application.
That's funny.
That was really pretty nice. I mean, except for they put this huge tent up over for patio. It's gonna rain. And drowned out some of the sound a little bit, but it was nice.
I had 4 calls on the Masonic sign down there.
How's that?
They were all saying that's such a pretty sign.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the other one was faded. You couldn't read
Oh,
it.
good. Okay, good. Yeah.
And the other one,
You got the new one up?
Chet.
Oh, he did. Okay.
Yeah, it had those
The
things
riveted.
riveted
Yeah,
things that
yeah.
we couldn't get
Yeah, you
off.
got to drill or punch.
And
those
so anyway, he said, he emailed me, said, what do you want to do with the old sign? I said, trash it.
Yeah.
But the other one,
Put it
this
on.
one you can see.
Yeah.
The other one was just completely washed out. You could see the square and compass.
You can see what it
Just
used to
barely.
be. Yeah.
So that, we got 4 calls so
Is
far.
it the?
One of them was my neighbor, because he drives by it every day. And then the other one at church today was Walter. Walter mentioned, said, oh, man, that was a pretty sign down there. Who did that? I said, the city actually put it up for us. They were the ones that put up the original.
There you
And,
go. Yeah.
I said, but you got to realize that's been over 30
Well,
years.
yeah, in 30
ago.
years, we'll have to do it again. We'll have to do it again.
Kevin not gonna be here tonight?
No, he's sick.
Yeah, Kevin is sick. Goodness.
He's out of luck. I owed him $10.
Well, good. Yeah. Oh, the sound is going through the TV. Need to turn the
What?
volume up on that TV a little bit.
This conference
Oh.
will now be recorded.
Good. Okay. Never mind.
We had that at church. Somebody turned the TVs up one time on videos. And we kept wondering where that was coming because I had all the mics shut off.
Oh,
But
really?
They were still coming through the TVs.
Oh,
because
yeah.
The volume was up on the TV.
Oh, you never know, do
We
you?
never used that.
You never know.
Now that's going to replace this owl is going to replace the
Just
camera
tonight.
for the. Oh, it's just going to be here tonight.
Hopefully we'll get back to where we.
Yeah, it's just tonight. I mean, we might like it so much that we want to incorporate it instead, but no, this is something got mixed up over here with the system. So this is just for tonight.
And what happened? It was a state that was using it.
Well, the Corps of Engineers came in to give their update on cleanup, and they needed to plug into the AV system. So I took one plug out, put theirs in, they did their thing, and today I just put the same plug back in the same place and
And it was different.
completely non-functional.
Wow.
I have
How it
7
goes.
o'clock. I call the June 15th DeSoto City Council meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Lane,
Here.
Daniels.
Here.
Hunter Michael,
Here.
Murdoch.
Here.
Ritter. Mr. Mayor, it appears Councilmember Ritter is absent.
Okay. I would ask you all to please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. So you gonna do it now? Tonight, before we start,
Yes.
we're gonna have a,
Yes, Mayor, thank you for the time here. It's not on the agenda, but I do want to take a moment to introduce Joe Johnson. He's our new city engineer and public works director. I think we discussed Joe's hire at the last council meeting. Joe's been with us now almost 2 weeks. Tomorrow will be 2 weeks, and he keeps coming back. So just thrilled to have him on board, a real public works leader in the region. Fantastic hire for us, and just really excited to have his expertise on board. So I want you to welcome Joe to DeSoto.
Welcome, Joe.
all right, thank you.
More from him later.
All right, our first item tonight is a public hearing related to the issuance of $6.6 million in industrial revenue bonds and 50% tax abatement for ART 24. Patrick, are you going to introduce
Yes,
this?
council, I included or distributed a memo to you. This was discussed at the last meeting. Dustin is here, made application. In order to do the tax abatement, the way to do that is to issue IRBs. Again, IRBs don't reflect on the city's credit rating. It's not obviously the city's money. So we are just allowing the transaction so that they can realize a 50% tax abatement. By passing the resolution that's on the agenda later, you will also be approving a sales tax exemption for construction materials for the project. And I did include the cost benefit analysis that Jeff White with Columbia Capital performed, which is required by statute, so that's in effect as well. And the resolution will also approve the pilot agreement, which is actually the document that sets the abatement at 50%.
The only thing I'd add, just to clarify, is that the cost benefit analysis showed a net benefit to all parties except, I think, the state can't. So, I think with that, I will go ahead and open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak to the IRB and tax abatement on the Arbor Ridge Townhomes, please approach the podium and state your name and address. All right, hearing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. And we will take this up later in the agenda, correct?
Yes.
All right. Next item is our consent agenda. Tonight on the consent agenda, we have approval of the minutes from the June 1st City Council meeting, approval of pay ordinance number 951, and approval of donation request from DeSoto High School Booster Club for DHS Hardwood Classic. Any issue anyone would wish to remove for further discussion? Someone ready to make a motion to approve the
I'll
consent?
make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion of the motion? Roll call, please.
Murdoch,
Yes.
Ritter, Daniels,
Yes.
Lane,
Yes.
Monaco.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right.
Oh, there's a wasp.
There's a few around.
Might not be the only one. They're afraid of me. So
Item 2, call the public. No wasps, please. Members of the public are welcome to use this time to comment about any matter relating to city business not listed on tonight's agenda. The comments that are discussed under call to public may or may not be acted on by the council during this meeting. There is a 4-minute time limit. Does anyone wish to address the council under call to public? All right, seeing none, we will move on. Item 3 is old business, of which we have none, so we will go to item 4A, consider resolution number 2010 authorizing issuance of $6.6 million in IRBs and 50% tax abatement for ART 24 and related documents. Anything you need to add? Pat?
No?
All right. Dustin, is there anything you would like to make the council aware of?
Nothing's really changed.
Unless we have a
since last
question?
time.
All right,
If there's any questions,
okay.
I'm happy to address.
Questions or comments from council?
curious with ARC 24.
It's creative.
Very creative. 24.
There's
24
24.
units.
Man, I came up with that all by myself.
While he was sleeping one night.
Thank you.
Paint to him in a green.
All right. If there are no comments or questions, I think we're ready for a motion.
I'll make a motion, we approve resolution 2010 authorizing the issuance of our IRBs, a 50% tax abatement for 10 years, sales tax exemption on construction materials and approval of the pilot agreement.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Lane,
Yes.
Hunter Michael,
Yes.
Daniels,
Yes.
Murdoch,
Yes.
motion carries.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Dustin.
Item B, consider CMB license for El Fisher 2 LLC.
Yes, Mayor and Council, this would typically be a consent agenda item. However, city code requires that the council have a chance to discuss the matter with the CMB application on their first application. We received a CMB license application last week. The paperwork is in order and we've received the $75 fee. Unless there are questions, I recommend approval of the CMB license, and the motion is in the report. The El Fisher is they're doing business as. I was trying to save people from rolling their R's as much as possible.
It's the new grocery and, yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, okay.
Which if you haven't had, it's good.
So.
Good.
Is it the truck or is it the grocery store that's selling it in the grocery
So
store?
they're selling it in the grocery store. They're doing business as, if that makes any sense. They're doing business as.
Well, I get that part. I just was making sure.
The
that
license-
this
Yeah,
wasn't-
the license is for the grocery
Their
store.
physical
It's their physical address. So they'll be selling unopened containers.
And is it legal for somebody to buy one in there and drink it out?
No, it is not. No, it is not.
That would require some other
That-
action by us, right?
Yeah, that
Or,
would require some
beer
other.
garden or some other.
As long as they understand that.
Yes.
Are clear with that.
Yes, they are aware of that. Their original request was to be able to do that, and Patrick and I looked into it and we informed them that was not allowed. And so they're under the understanding that they are not to allow people to drink, consume alcoholic beverages at the tables there.
Any other questions? We're ready, then we can.
I'll make a motion to, we authorize the mayor to approve the CMB license for Roberto's DeSoto at 33321 Lexington Avenue.
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion of the motion? Roll call, please.
Hunter Michael,
Yes.
Daniels,
Yes.
Murdoch,
Yes.
Lane,
Yes.
motion carries.
All right. Item C, discuss 2024 budgets.
Yes, council, this week's installment of the 2024 budget is an incremental one. We've gone over some larger items in the past several meetings. This one, I've just focused on the equipment and vehicle replacement program. You'll remember we have this arrangement with Enterprise Fleet to handle truck replacements essentially for the rolling stock, for all the street vehicles, the smaller utility trucks. And then for the larger trucks, like the dump trucks, the larger utility trucks, and the contractor's equipment, the backhoes, we typically will purchase those with loans from the Electric Utility Reserve. This year, we don't have any of those types of equipment needs for 2024. We're good on those. We've made some of those acquisitions in the last several years on the contractor's equipment. So therefore, this year's program, 2024 program, will focus on four purchases. 5 acquisitions, I'm sorry. 4 of those will be leases and 1 of them will be a purchase. The biggest one is the replacement of an existing Ford F-550 with a Peterbilt 536. This is for the water department. That'll be a purchase with the loan from the Electric Reserve Fund. We will sell the 550 likely on Purple Wave unless there's a higher yield option to us. And those proceeds will go back into the Electric Reserve Fund to continue to fund the replacement program. So that's the biggest acquisition that we have proposed for the 24 budget. The rest are leases, 3 of which will be new to the fleet. So we'll be leasing a Chevy Traverse or similar for the new building inspector that we just hired. That position started this week. We have also a lease for a new Silverado 1500, so a half-ton pickup truck. That will be for the Public Works Director position, and a Silverado 2500 or a 1-ton pickup truck for the new wastewater technician position. The other 2 leases are replacements of existing equipment, one in the water department and another in the street department. If you'll remember the discussions we had from previous presentations I've given on the budget, these vehicle replacement numbers were estimates. These are hard numbers now. They don't materially change the projections, the mill levies, the year-end fund balances in any of these funds. So really nothing new to report on that. The other new piece of information we just got today from the county appraiser was the formal official valuations for the city and the revenue neutral rate. So up until this point, to establish the mill levy and for the budget draft, we've used a assessed valuation number of right around $118 million. The actual assessed valuation number is $121 million. So it's about 3% more than the figure we've been using so far. You'll remember that the last update I gave on the mill levy was a rollback of about 1 mil exactly. So we could choose to keep that rollback the same. The 3% evaluation doesn't. It only equates to like a 0.2% sort of, it's a 3% on that mill, which now sets at 19.8 mils total. So we could leave that there. This just results in a little higher fund balance, at the end, year-end fund balance throughout. So that's the number. The revenue neutral rate would require a total mill levy of 18.5. So with the mill that we've established, rolling back 1 mil, we will exceed the revenue neutral rate, which we've done each year, which almost every city in Kansas has done each year since that legislation was put in place. So that's all I have. Brandon, was there anything else on the budget from the appraiser today that we got?
Nope, that's it.
Yeah. Okay. So that was the budget update.
Okay.
No need to.
Quick question, and I think Brandon's probably covered it. So we kind of did a reset on the enterprise program after COVID. Did we extend that like 2 more years then to figure out if this is the way we're going to go? Or?
Yes, we're just now kind of seeing vehicles. You remember this time last year we were struggling to get vehicles, which was kind of nationwide the issue. We're now seeing all of our vehicles come in. We have 1 more vehicle that we're waiting on for the vehicles that we ordered in 2020, late 2022 for the 2023 budget. But everything else has come in a timely manner. And that last vehicle has, with the exception of the Lightning, I'm still not sure if we're going to get that. But all the other vehicles that we're projecting for our streets and water department, all those vehicles have shown up, with the exception of 1, and that is sitting at a shop getting its specialty bed put on. It's got a service bed, it's got a Tommy lift, some other things on there, and so that's being worked on. We're anticipating having that by the end of the summer. So we've had a good report so far. It's a little early to have a kind of final number on if it's cost effective for the city, just because we haven't received as many vehicles.
Yeah, I think our evaluation period is going to extend through 2024.
Yeah, I was hoping to have something this year, but we just haven't had enough vehicles to really say. We've only sold 1.
Yeah, it's the
Right,
resale.
It's the resale.
That
Yeah.
defines the
And I'm not-
success of the-
I will say on that Traverse, we have flipped 1 vehicle. It's a Traverse that Doug Smith drives. That one, the city gained $7,000 on. So we have a small sample size, but it has been beneficial to the city.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any questions? Any other questions?
We are losing hope on the Lightning.
I think maybe we should go to,
Well, so you know, it's a placeholder. We still have the order on, but it's not in this budget.
it might be the Tesla truck that we end up.
It could be the
with.
Tesla truck we wind up with.
And they're not telling you where at Enterprise is in
Or
their,
Toyota
Yeah, the queue.
hydrogen.
Yeah. So we've asked, and they have no clue. I will say that their factory was shut down for about a month in the late winter, and so I'm guessing that's probably the reason why we're not able to get one. But when I talked to our representative, she said you're probably not going to get it. Your order's still good. We could reorder it if that's council's wish. We could order a 2025, but they're pretty certain we're not going to get it. The production year ends in a couple weeks for the Lightning, and we haven't got a VIN yet. And that's kind of the first sign
yeah.
that you're going to get a vehicle is if you get a VIN.
And I'm presuming you made a decision to go comparable vehicle from a Ford product to a General Motors product. Is that availability? Is that based on availability?
Yeah, it's based on availability. So it's gotten a little bit better. And if we decide to continue this program in 2024, we may be able to say, we would like a Ford F-150 or Chevy Silverado. But when we placed orders, we said give us a 1500
Yeah,
truck.
whether it's Ford, Dodge, GM.
Yeah, exactly.
whatever.
Yeah, and those are usually on 2-year leases, so we're not really seeing a lot of maintenance costs on them. And so, from our perspective, there's not really a brand loyalty.
The loyalties to the one that has the greater resale value.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Which, well, we had typically had been the Dodge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, just another observation, since you've got this one chart up, so I'm a little zeroing in on it, you've got 17 years on those two that you're retiring. I'm assuming you're doing some assessment as you go along of maintenance costs and operations costs versus the fact that you've used them for a long period of time.
Yes.
That model will obviously change now that we're going to the lease.
Yeah.
Turnover every 2 years.
It depends on the vehicle. So Enterprise they basically do a model, and they basically say the most cost-effective way is to keep it they generally do 1 to 5 years. The Traverses are so profitable that those are usually on 1-year flips. There's so much demand for a used light-duty SUV, something that's just not being used and abused and low mileage. Those are high demand. Some of the heavier trucks, like I'm looking at it, it's the F-350, some of those other ones. Those are your value is being able to keep them for a few years, and so because they're so expensive. So those we are on leases for 5 years, but every year they'll come back and they'll say, this is the time to sell this vehicle. So it's a constant evaluation process.
Any guidance on the mill rollback to stay pat with the one? To me, I think from my perspective, I think the one would be probably who says that they don't have an adjustment? I mean, we've been subject to an adjustment late in the game the other way that kind of messed us up from the county. So
Right. Well, we don't decide now. I mean, if we can, we can, but
yeah.
I'd say we wait until, the numbers are all truing up and we feel secure about it.
Yeah. So for now, for the next phase, we'll be looking at the other, because right now we've been concentrating on the water sewer general fund. So we'll take a look at the law enforcement debt service and all those other, all the other ones, the maintenance funds, all those. I think we'll be concentrating on next. And so, yeah, as we formulate this, as things clear up, we'll maintain the 1 mil rollback. So we'll stand pat on that and to go forward with the discussion, see where we are come, August.
Okay. Thank you,
Good.
Mike.
Thank you.
Item 5, executive session for land acquisition.
Need a motion?
I do need a motion.
I would like to make a motion to recess into executive session at 7:20 for 5 minutes to discuss acquisition of right-of-way pursuant to statutory basis land acquisition KSA 75-4319B6 with the open meeting resume in the city council chamber at 7:25.
Do you have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, we'll be back in 5 minutes.
Mr. Mayor, I will abstain from the executive session.
Thank you.
And for the room, we're going to leave the live stream on. We're going to leave the meeting kind of going. So be aware of that. You're still on camera.
Kevin, did your company, did they decide to go with Enterprise? I met with your CFO maybe a year ago.
No, we did not. We decided to continue to purchase outright.
Yeah.
A variety of, and part of it was availability. And we ended up, we needed 4 pickups and we found 4. I mean, it was also that kind of get whatever we can get. And we found 4 Dodge 1500s or whatever. And they
Yeah.
were low mileage through CarMax or something.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Couldn't get them, so
Mhm.
we ended up going that route, and it was a better deal for us. But we've been holding off.
Yeah.
Probably will order a couple this year for next year.
The nice thing about Enterprise is they were looking out for us. So we had a couple vehicles that weren't quite canceled yet, and they said they were going to cancel, and so they ordered us new vehicles, which is nice.
Yeah.
So
Well, and so did they take all your vehicles into their fleet management or whatever?
we could if we decided to. We've been kind of just as we've been replacing them, we've done it just because the first year we only got 1 vehicle, and we're in year 2 now, and we're starting to see more. But we didn't want to make the plunge because how that works is they take them all.
And that's what they were going to do with us, and we tend to turn them over about every 10 years.
Mhm.
But what they were just didn't. We just ended up not figuring it was going to be a good enough deal to go that route.
It's a whole different business model
It is a whole
Oh,
different
yeah.
business model.
on the private side because you guys are getting basically the used vehicles that the cities are getting. That's what I'm
Well,
understanding. Yeah.
that's exactly what it would have been.
Yeah.
So we would have been getting vehicles that are coming off of these city leases. That's
Mhm.
exactly what it was.
Yeah. I thought that was kind of
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
And so they must have, I don't know,
Oh,
tens of thousands
Yeah.
of
they have quite a few 15, 20 clients that I know of in the Kansas City
Yeah.
metro area. So, because they,
yeah.
I mean, it's
Did Leewood do that?
Now, we looked at it, we bought all of ours,
Bottom?
but there are a lot of cities that were going that way to help with their budget and maintain
Mhm.
a low budget for
Yeah.
years to, spikes. I think in general, they were looking at small vehicles,
Mhm.
Cars to small pickup trucks.
yeah.
Anything, police cars, of course, they were all special order.
Mhm.
The heavy duty trucks.
And they were like, I don't know what they said. They're like the largest purchaser of light duty pickups for Ford and General Motors. or
I could-
something
yeah,
like
I
that.
could
They
see
order
that.
like 200,000 a year.
Mhm.
And so they just have this standing order.
Yeah.
So they like at the front of the production
Mhm.
line. And that's why,
Yeah.
Kevin Montemichael can't go to the Ford dealership and order an F-150 and
Yeah.
expect it in 18 months.
Exactly.
So they used to come work on the 150. They're covering three trucks.
Oh,
Now there's 40 or 50 or 50 now.
$7:24 by my clock, so we will wait for 1 minute before we resume the meeting. I now have 7:25, so we are back in our regular session. We want to make a motion on the right-of-way acquisition.
Make a motion, we approve the right-of-way acquisition in the amount of $46,000.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Murdoch,
Yes.
Daniels,
Yes.
Michael,
Same.
Wayne,
Yes.
motion carries.
Okay. Item 6, advisory reports. City Administrator.
Yes, council, thank you. if I could make a request that the council make a motion to formally appoint Joe Johnson as DeSoto City Engineer. We're currently without one. So if you'd be so kind as to do that, that'd be appreciated.
Sure, I'll make a motion, we appoint Joe Johnson as DeSoto, Kansas City engineer.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion of the motion? Roll call, please.
Hanamichael,
Yes.
Daniels,
Yes.
Murdoch,
Yes.
Ritter, Lane.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you for that, council. The only other thing I had was City Hall will be closed Monday, June 19th for Juneteenth holiday. So be aware of that. And I will leave some other updates for the new city engineer.
City attorney,
Nothing for me.
city planner is not here tonight, so city engineer, you have the floor.
All right.
A couple updates. Good evening. So you're probably aware that we've gone through the Middle Metro Regional Council for planning sustainable places. We received funding, and so that RFP is out right now. It's supposed to be, they're due June 28th. We'll have interviews July 28th. So part of that requirement is we have a 5 to 6 person committee to do both review the proposals if needed. And then we have to have interviews with at least 2 to 3 of the firms, depending on how many submit. So we are looking for volunteers and just wanted to see if anybody on the council wanted to volunteer to be on that committee, along with myself, Mike, and Brad, the city director of planning. So anyway, just think about it and then let myself and Mike know if you'd like to be a part of that team to both review and then go through the interview process. So
And remember, that's the corridor study for 83rd Street in Lexington.
yeah, Lexington.
Yeah, Mark granted us $60,000 for that, and we've obligated a $40,000 match. So it'll be a $100,000 corridor study.
So anyway, just think about that. Next update is K10 Kill Creek Bridge. So KDOT had their pre-construction meeting this week. They're looking at Clarkson is the contractor. They're looking at starting around July 10th. For that, they'll be switching traffic, so they'll do one half at a time. And the expected completion date is November 17th of this year. It'll be open to traffic on both sides, and they'll close down for the winter, and they'll come back in around April to do the painting. And I think there's some limitations for lane closures. I think they have to do that at night if they have to do lane closures. They have from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. to close one lane as they do their painting. One of the other things going with this project is potential that the trail beneath it will be closed for maybe a week or two during demolition, just for safety reasons. And there may be some periodic closing when they do the painting. But anyway, that's moving forward. Clarkson has been doing all the work, and so they're going to need to go with that. And then some other updates, Edgerton Road, I don't know if you've been out there, but they were out there paving today. So they were putting on, I think, the final base lift. And I don't know if they're going to schedule to do the final surface lift or whether they're going to wait till the barricades or till the construction's all done for the detour route. But I'll go out there tomorrow to see if they're going to do that. But anyway, they're trying to finalize that. That's going to be one of the detour routes when they do the 103rd Street closer. It'll be kind of a circular loop, and Edgerton will be, I think, the northbound loop when they get to that phasing. And then last week we had, trying to remember weeks now. Last week we went to a selection process for the wastewater progressive design build. We interviewed 3 companies, 3 design build teams. The one that was selected was Burns & McDonnell and Kyle's Construction. Had a great interview. They did a wonderful job. They've started a couple months on their design, so they're a little bit ahead of everybody else. I think that will help us as we get contract documents done. It's a very tight schedule for completion, so we're hoping that the work they've already done will put us in a really good position for start construction and complete the plant by the time Panasonic's up and running. And then had a meeting today. So on the water plant, they're at 30% design. So we will get plans for that next week. And we also have a meeting Wednesday And Garber is already working on, we should have that next week, or by the time we meet Wednesday, they'll have their estimated cost at 30%. So we'll kind of get to see where things are at and if we need to start making adjustments. But all that's coming together real well. They're both working, both HDR and Garber working real well together. So excited about that. And then probably the final one is Panasonic. So 103rd and Lexington Road improvements. They're working on the bypass road right now. And I think KDOT anticipates next week they'll start shutting 103rd Street down and start construction after. I think they're looking at the middle part of it to do some of the roundabouts, and then it gets expanded beyond that. But we should have some information from KDOT and some flyers that we can post and send out to folks on what that closure is going to be and what that detour route's going to be. But we think that's going to happen. They talked about this week, but I think that's going to start next week. So that's it for right now.
All right. Any questions? Edgerton Road, right as it approaches 103rd, is that going to be remain unpaved for a time?
Yeah, so part of the Panasonic work is a roundabout. So they stopped it where Clarkson Construction will then tie into it. So they actually work together to work to end the road so that it tied in with the work that's
So
being
that'll
done.
remain unpaved for a duration of time.
I think that's one of the first phases to get closed because they want to put the roundabout in. So it can be used as a bypass when they start doing the rest of the construction.
I hope not till September, I think.
So with that,
When are they going to shut down Edgerton at 103rd? Wasn't that like September? They were going to start that roundabout?
Well, so they actually need that to be open around September because that's when the one-way traffic of Lexington going south and then back north on Edge, that the deadline to get Edgerton done and open and complete for that traffic is now sometime in September.
Okay. So when are they going to shut down the Edgerton intersection then?
That'd be the next phase. We don't exactly know. It'll be sometime during the summer.
Okay.
Yeah,
yeah, the 103rd.
sometime in a couple months.
Yeah, because they'll need to build a roundabout. That'll have to be in place before they can start using Egerton as their one-way loop street.
And that's a little bit of a change because initially they needed Edgerton because that was going to be the first phase. They needed that, but now they're going to start on Astra, that roundabout there at 103rd and Astra, do Astra Parkway, so they won't need that Edgerton link until September.
That was partly to accommodate our need to access the ball field. right?
Through
That
through
rephasing,
July. Yeah, that's right.
Question on another project you may not know, but what is the status of the bridge on 83rd Street over the railroad tracks?
I know that. We are initially that was set for a letting in August through KDOT, but right now we're in discussions with Burlington Northern about the allowable clearance on that
I
bridge.
thought that had been resolved.
We did too.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's
So
very
that's
likely
still-
that that's on hold now for at least 6 months
Okay.
while we clear that issue up.
Okay.
More on that later.
Okay.
That's a spur they don't currently own.
Correct.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Assistant City Administrator, any report tonight?
Just one quick thing. On Tuesday night, I received a request from the DeSoto Garden Club on behalf of the DeSoto Arts Council for $550 from the Public Art Funds for landscaping at the Kill Creek and 83rd Street art site. They plan to put mulch and small plants around the slab just to kind of beautify it. They're thinking kind of natural plants in that landscape. Per the policy, City Council must approve all expenses outside of the construction of the pad site. So I recommend the City Council make a motion to approve $550 from the Public Art Fund for the 83rd Street and Kill Creek art display.
Okay, any questions for Brandon? Someone would like to make a motion?
I'll make the motion as stated there.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion of the motion? Roll call, please.
Lane,
Yes.
Murdoch,
Yes.
Carmichael?
Yes.
Daniels?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Council comments. Danny, anything?
Nothing to add, thank you.
Rob?
Just welcome to our scout working on his merit badge. And then also the Army Corps update the other night was a good update as far as seeing the progress and seeing where they are in the process and that. So very informational and sometimes extra informational.
It's a good observation.
Thank you. Lori?
I don't have anything there, thank you.
Kevin?
Can't come up with anything.
All right, well, Rob, I was gonna do a little bit on the Army. We had a briefing in the morning for stakeholders, so they were in this room practicing for their night presentation, I guess. It was good to know they're on schedule. They're still looking at 2028 completion. There should be some significant areas that are, all paperwork is in the regulator's hands, so, and has been for a while, so there should be some significant areas that are gonna be released soon, so just moving as expected, so that's good news, so.
And had I gone, I would probably know the answer to this, but how does the cleanup, how does the area where utility scale solar is proposed dovetail with their timing?
It is a big orange area.
Yeah,
A
it's
lot
one
of-
big area.
Which means that, so they have contracts set for all of it. They don't, it's in the process of defining the corrective measures, I believe, right? So they're doing the reports for what are needed as corrective measures. So the corrective measures, the actual work has not been started, the digging, but the paperwork to figure out what that is in the plan is underway right now.
So I'm gonna presume that it tails towards the 28,
It would be, yeah, a little
It's one
before
of
that.
the, it's one of the later
Yeah.
one of the
pieces.
later phases.
And the 2028 deadline is for all the dirt, land, things like that. One thing that would be remaining after that's water.
Water.
But they don't want to do the water until they get the dirt, because
Mhm.
then if they do water and stir up the dirt and have runoff. So, but the 2028 is for all the land.
Okay, that's all I have for that.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. We are adjourned.
Mike,
This conference is no longer being recorded.
Yes.
I'll be glad to help on that council with anybody.